A few months ago, I caught myself coasting, and it bothered me more than I expected. When I dug into why, I landed on the same thing that makes so many people who set out to build a school eventually quit. It isn't that they aren't smart enough, it isn't that they run out of money first. It's that they never build reasons strong enough to survive how hard it actually is. I helped run an alternative school. I helped write the biography of a man who's founded 9 of them. And I've watched founders hit that wall. So this is the most personal video that I've made. I'm going to tell you the truth about what building a school costs you, including one cost almost nobody warns you about. Then I'm going to walk you through the exercises I use to build reasons strong enough to keep going. Let me start with something that I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit, because it's important to tell you what that coasting actually looked like, because it's embarrassing in a useful way. And it wasn't laziness, it was comfort, and comfort is sneakier than laziness, because it never once feels like a problem. I'm 27, I'm currently living in Mexico City. I have a stable job that pays me well, and a consulting practice on the side that pays me even better. The money I make is enough to live comfortably most places in the world. People assume Mexico City is cheap, rent isn't, Between one thing and another, life is affordable enough that I had quietly stopped reaching for more. I got into this whole rabbit hole through Jeremy Haynes of all people, a marketer who's running an 8-figure marketing agency. I started watching his stuff, and the thing that hit me wasn't a tactic, it was a question. He made me realize that I didn't actually have strong enough reasons for the things that I said that I wanted. And if your reasons are weak, you don't push, you coast around. You tell yourself you'll get into it. You assume you have to wait years for the house or the life or the freedom, but maybe you don't. That sent me to a book by Rohn, and Rohn says it more plainly than anyone. He tells a story about asking a mentor why his bank account was bigger. And the mentor says, you have enough intelligence, but you don't have enough reasons. And then Rohn lands the line that's been rattling around my head ever since. Reasons come first, answers come second. Now here's why I'm telling you all this, because this is not a video about me. If you're an educator thinking about building something on your own, we're standing in front of the most comfortable exit imaginable. Maybe you have a public school salary and a pension. Maybe you have a steady teaching job with summers off. The safe path is right there, paved, lit, with handrail. And I want to be fair. Staying employed has a real risk. It's just a quiet, invisible risk. The entrepreneurial path has loud risk, more uncertainty, less money for a long stretch, and 1,000 moments where quitting would be the reasonable thing to do. The comfortable path isn't wrong, but if you're going to leave it, you will better know exactly why. Because comfort doesn't ask you for reasons. The thing you're about to build will ask you for them every single week. Let me show you what I mean by every single week, because I don't think most people have counted the cost honestly. And to do this, let's actually talk about some of the actual costs of building a school. I'm going to walk you through some of those moments, not the inspirational versions, the real ones. Because each of these is a moment where, without a strong enough reason, a normal person quits, and they will be right to. You'll need a reason for the first one. The money. If you leave the public system to start something alternative, you take a financial hit. If you're a teacher starting a micro school, you'll probably pay yourself little or nothing for the first stretch. I know that one personally. When I started my consultancy for alternative education schools, the first 2 or 3 months, I had basically one real client. It was profitable, it paid really well, but it still wasn't enough because I was working 40-hour days to build something that didn't exist yet. What kept me in the share was not the money, it was the reason. You'll need a reason for the month that goes sideways. You were relying on word of mouth, you weren't running ads, and then the month just ends. And the revenue isn't there, and payroll is due, and here's the part that nobody warns you about. Meeting payroll, it's also your problem. If you have to take a low salary so your team gets paid, that's the job. If the school can't make it and goes under, that's on you. You'll need a serious reason to take money out of your own pocket and hand it to your team in a month where the math didn't work. You'll need a reason to invest in getting better when the easy thing is to spend nothing. $100 a month on books, $1,000 for a course that teaches you one real skill, like running a webinar that actually fills seats, maybe $3,000 to $5,000 to get inside a program with people who have already done it. More than that, if you bring someone in to run it for you, especially if they know what they're doing. Every one of those is a number you have to talk yourself into, especially in a month in which you're not making a lot of money. And the founders who grow are almost always the one who found a reason to bet on themselves before it felt comfortable to do it. You need a reason for the day, you have to let someone go. Say you have a teacher, and every year that teacher quietly loses a chunk of their families. You build a plan with them, it doesn't change, now you have to fire a human being. Maybe they just bought a house. Every emotional signal your body says, don't. But if you keep them, the culture you spend years building starts to dilute, and the 10 kids in that classroom slide right back into the disengagement they came to you to escape. So what's the cost? Are you, as the leader, willing to walk into that room? You'll need a reason for that too. You'll need a reason to say no to a family who could really use your help. There will be a month where Rohn is soft and a family shows up who can't afford you, or doesn't really see the value, and saying yes would help your cash flow that particular month. But here's what I've watched, specifically at the Socratic Experience, the school where I serve as an executive, but also at the schools that I consult for. And that is that the families who come in without really valuing what we do tend not to refer anyone. They tend not to stay the full year or for the 9 years. They are the ones who create friction in the classroom and difficulty for the team. So letting them in to fix this month quietly damages the school long term. Say no when you need to say yes takes a reason. And you'll need a reason also not to discount yourself into the ground. When I started, I was the first person tempted to discount the moment someone said they couldn't. In one of those early weeks of my education consultancy, when I started, I was the first person tempted to discount the moment someone said that they couldn't afford me. Because even though I didn't need the money, I wanted some money to justify all the effort that I was putting into this side project. But I didn't discount, because the company I wanted to build required me to start on the right foot. If I don't value what I offer enough to sell it at full price even once, then I discount the first person, and after that, everyone gets a discount and the whole thing unravels. That's not pride, that's survival. And here's the cost almost nobody warns you about. The one I promised you at the start of the video. It comes from my friend and mentor, Michael Strong, the founder of the school I work at. I helped write his biography. I also wrote a book on him. Michael has founded 9 schools over 35 years, almost always as the education mind. Someone else carrying the business side, the money, the fundraising, the keeping the lights on. That is its own full-time job, by the way. It's a lot of what I do, both for the school, but also for the schools that I consult for. Michael, he does not regret building the Socratic Experience for a second, but he's honest about the trade in his biography. He started the school because he loves the classroom, he loves teaching. But the higher you go, the less you get to do the thing that you started for. In this occasion with the Socratic Experience, where he doesn't have a co-founder doing all the business stuff, he became the person everyone looks to. So his days, they fill with calls, partners, curriculum, hard conversations, thinking 10, 100 moves ahead. He misses, of course, teaching as much as he used to. And that's one of the costs of building something. Thing you love can get crowded out by the work of keeping it alive. And it's not, again, that Michael regrets this. We're doing incredible work. We're getting some of the best numbers that we've had over the last 5 years. We're getting incredible partners with which maybe we do some collaborations or maybe build some adjacent companies with, but there's less teaching that is involved. And if the only reason that you joined or that you created a school was because, let's say, you care the most about teaching, you will need a good reason that survives the fact that you might not be able to do it as much as you used to. Because now there are other actions that need to be taken. So the whole math becomes, how do you build reasons strong enough to survive all of that? And that's what I've been working on myself. Here's the actual process that I've been following. Jim Rohn says that the answers to your life challenges and business challenges hide until your reasons are strong enough to go looking for them. So the work is on the reasons first. And here's how I've been doing it, using 2 books and a lot of uncomfortable honesty. One thing before the books, because it's the reason this part is on you and not on someone you hire. I used to work in brand strategy. Companies love to build a purpose in a workshop. Everyone writes a line, it all gets stitched together, it goes up on the wall. I never really believed in the concept of purpose. Purpose isn't written by committee. It starts with one person, usually the founder, and their reasons. The company only borrows it. So if you're the one building the school, no mission statement is going to do this for you. You are the source. That's the bad news, and it's the good news. Because Jim Rohn lays out what actually moves people beyond just wanting money. He calls them the great motivators. The first is recognition. Some people will do more to be seen and to matter than they will ever do for a paycheck. The second is the feeling of winning. He has millionaire friends who still work 12-hour days. Not for the money, but for the joy of the win. The third is family. People will do for the people they love. They will never do for themselves. And the fourth is benevolence. The desire to give it away, to build something that allows yourself. Then Jim says something that gave me permission. He talks about nitty-gritty reasons. Because the reason doesn't have to be novel to be powerful. It can be small. It can be even a little bit embarrassing. For Jim, the turning point was being too broke to buy Girl Scouts cookies from a kid at his door. That humiliation became fuel. So let me be honest about mine, because I think modeling this matters more than keeping it clean. I'm recording this at the time, it's June, and I'm planning to go on a trip to Japan in September. I want to go to Japan. I've talked about that trip before. I want good clothes. And yes, I want the compliments when I wear them. I want to be in the room with people like Alex Shamosi, Jeremy Haynes, Daniel Dallin, and work with them. I also want to be with incredible educators, like meeting again, hanging out more often with Michael Strong, or with some of the greatest minds in the economics world. And I'll tell you the uncomfortable part. Right now, I don't feel like I could bring them the kind of value my future self will. That's not me being down on myself. I'm genuinely fine. But it's me being accurate about a gap and use it. I want to give a family that I don't have yet the option to choose any school, any city, any future. So those are becoming to be more tangible reasons. Some lofty, some nitty-gritty, but all of them are real. Now, the second book after Jim Rohn that I've been reading is Die with Zero by Bill Perkins, and it gave me the exercises to make those reasons specific. Perkins' whole argument is that we drift through life on autopilot, oversaving and underliving, deferring the things we actually want until the deferral becomes permanent. His fix is to get concrete. He has to time bucket your life, actually map the experiences you want, and roughly when. Because a trip you take at 30 is not the same trip at 70. He talks about memory dividends, the idea that an experience pays you back in remembered joy for the rest of your life, which means the earlier you have it, the more it pays. And he has a rule I keep coming back to. Be bold, not foolish. Take your biggest swings when you have the least to lose, which, if you're young or you don't have the mortgage and 3 kids yet, or you already have them, it's right now. And to be clear, money isn't even the currency that matters the most here. Perkins' deeper point is that your health and your time are finite too. And both are nearer their peak right now than they will ever be again. You'll never again be this young, this free, or this able to take a real swing. That by itself, it's a reason. So here's the exercise that I have for you, and it's the homework I would actually do this week if I were you. Sit down and write your reasons, not just be successful. Be specific. The exact life you want, the exact experiences, and when, the people you want in the room, the version of your family you're building for. And the nitty-gritty ones, the ones you'll be a little embarrassed to say out loud. Maybe it's the fact that, for example, when I was looking at self-tickets from Japan, I felt, stressed about the fact that I'm about to have to fly for 15 hours in economy rather than paying 10 times to go in first class. Because right now, I'm not as financially free as it would allow me to actually just lay down in the trip. So that might be, a sort of a foolish reason, but it's important to write those down too. Write them until the list is long enough that it scares you a little bit. Because Jim Rohn is right. Once the reasons are strong enough, the answers start showing up, and it's what's precisely been happening to me lately. But at this point, the turn is for you. If you run a school or you want to, answer why. When the month goes sideways and the family's complaining and payroll is due, and the easy thing is to quit or go get a normal job, where none of this is your problem, what is the reason that keeps you in the chair? If you cannot answer that fast, it's not a small thing. That's the thing. Now, I promise you the truth, and the truth has a hard side, but it also has a side that I find genuinely beautiful. Let me end the video here, because here's what I actually believe after all of this that I've been talking about. You're not guaranteed any level of success. Nobody is. But you're very nearly guaranteed to fail at one thing, and that's the thing you quit. The only way to truly lose is to stop. As long as you keep moving, as long as you keep improving, you haven't lost. You have just not arrived yet. Jim Rohn has one more line I think about constantly. Don't wish it were easier. Wish it were better. You're not going to get an easier version of building a school. But what you can get is a better prepared version of yourself. And reasons strong enough to put that preparation to work when the easy thing is to walk away. That's the whole trade. And maybe you don't build a school that does a few $1 million a year with a wait list and people asking you to buy a franchise. Maybe you will, but even the version quote-unquote below that. A school that is genuinely sustainable, that pays you a good living, that you're proud of, and that gives you an enormous amount of joy in the actual work, that is very achievable. And it compounds. Every year you don't quit, you get better. And the odds, they tilt towards you. There's one more reason I want to leave you with, because it's the one that ties this channel together. Value what you provide is itself a reason. I've said this before to a lot of educators who feel wrong about charging real money. They lead with the scholarships and discounts and the financial aid before anyone even asks. Some schools, they put it right on the homepage. They say, like, last year, we awarded $500,000 in financial aid. And I understand the heart behind it. Think about what that line tells a family who can pay full price. It tells them that the number is soft, and that paying it in full quietly makes them the one subsidizing everyone else. Why would you lead with that? A school that won't charge enough to survive cannot serve anyone for very long. The mission and the money are not enemies. The money is what lets the mission outlive this year's donation, this year's grant, this year's hope. So having self-respect about what you charge is ingredient. It's one of the strongest reasons you have to keep the doors open. I'm working on my reasons in public, the same as you. Let me be honest about why I had to. I spent close to a year dealing with a bunch of health issues. And there were days I genuinely didn't want to get on a call with a parent or a teacher or someone who wanted to hire me as a consultant. Back then, I didn't have strong enough reasons of my own. So what carried me most was the work itself. The families telling me we had changed their kid's life. And that's real, and it's a gift, but it came from the outside. The reasons that I'm building now come from the inside, and those are the ones that don't leave when you have a hard week. Remember, the only way to lose is if you actually stop. As of this moment, that's the most honest version of how I think that I know how to give to you. If it resonated, the best thing you can do is subscribe. because I'm going to keep sharing this, building and the thinking behind it every week. If you run a school and you want to see how I help founders build something sustainable, the kind that doesn't run on donations and hope, there's a video in the description that walks through how I work. And if you would rather just see where your own enrollment stands first, there's a free scorecard down there too. And mostly, figure out your reasons. Write them down this week. Everything else gets easier after that.